I promised you a little tour of Wolfenbüttel, and here I am starting off at the logical point, the train station, which had been renovated a while ago back. So when you see here, you see how pretty it is. It really is a nice building. And back in the corner you see our city library, and here, take a nice little look, you can go in a little bit. There's a restaurant, it's a Chinese buffet restaurant, it's called Walk In.
And then here you see the Oker. The Oker runs all through Wolfenbüttel. In fact, it runs underneath Wolfenbüttel, which is kind of fascinating, and I'll show you that afterwards. That red house is one of the smallest houses in the city. It's very narrow, you can spread your arms across. And this is my favorite street in Wolfenbüttel. All romantic old houses. There's Lustgarten, which means like the lusty garden, and it just goes on and on. The Trinity Church was built to impress with a great front. The first synagogue was built right next to it, a little smaller. And here's our duck pond where you see kids and grandparents in the summer. Right now there are ducks all over the place. It's really pretty. It was quite cold that day though, that's why no one is out. And the duck doing an ice dance. And here is the typical red color of many of the houses in Wolfenbüttel. That belongs to a jeweler. And it's just after 4 o'clock. Find a nice little bronze sculpture, which is of the old city and its fortress. It's kind of interesting. It's also written in Braille. Here's the main church represented. And here's one of our castles. We have 2. And this is the marketplace. And old typical buildings of the area. I think it's just one romantic place to be. All these lovely old wooden beam Tudor style houses. And this is the Herzog August with his horse. He's not on his horse because he was a very peaceful regent. And it's a little fountain too. The building behind him is called the Rathaus. It's not a house of rats. It's a house for advice. Rat means advice in German. It's basically City Hall. And this is an interesting area. Here in Marktplatz is on the Wednesdays and Saturdays they have the farmer's market, and you can buy lovely spices, which I do. I love them. And cheese. Cheese heaven. The owner is really sweet. And here, sundials never lie, but you need a lot of sun for them to tell the time. And here, another view of local vegetables. For example, here, leeks out of Wolfenbüttel, porree. And this is an old-fashioned shopping window. It's details like these that you look at when you draw. And the ravens are at home in Wolfenbüttel. We have tons of them. This is another arm of the Oker going under the bridge. And here, if you look, there's somebody sitting on a toilet. Here is the called the Rathaus Passage. It goes underneath. And if you look at the map part in a moment, you will see how many waterways we actually have. Wolfenbüttel was built on a swamp, basically. And you see they used to use it. Number A is where they used to have an outdoor toilet in one of the buildings. And you would use the canals, the river arms, as canals and to transport wood. Casanova lived there in that golden colored house. And the house next to it was called the Wedding House. That's our main church. And this is Kornmarkt, which was where they would sell grains, typically. This is our main church, Beata Maria Vergenis. It's got great concerts there. And this is called the Zollamt. With another, you see the typical red, that's something you bring into a drawing. And this open Kornmarkt. This is the Seligerbank. and our shopping zone. We don't have malls in this town. It's kind of nice. You just see typical architecture. You put that in, and this is interesting. Like this house has a bridge from one house to the other, and this marketplace here is interesting. Here are my favorite buildings. They kind of lean together as if they were drunk. And the bakeries there is good. This building is coming down, and if you look across to our regal Wolfenbüttel Palace, this gray one is the second palace in Wolfenbüttel. It's the Prince's Palace, but it's in private hands right now. The sculpture is to represent Wilhelm Busch, a very famous author in Germany. He did satire. And you can see this lovely castle, but do you see what's not right about this castle? There's something very funny, and I'll show you that in just a moment. Look at the windows. Look closely. Yeah, boring windows, right? No, fake windows. And way up in the sky, you've got your bell tower, and there be dragons. I love that little dragon spigot. That's something I would put into one of my drawings. And I like these perfectly round reflections on peaceful days. And you go in, and you look down, and there's a little dedication to Eulenspiegel. And here is a sign of all the people who've ruled there, including the tolle Christian, the super Christian. He must have had a big idea of himself. And this is just how the building is separated. It's a school, it's a museum, and it has a gastronomy in it. And in the summertime, they have festivals, music festivals, and children's festivals. And it's been used in films too. And here you find more fake windows. And why? Because, the Herzog wanted to look like he had a lot of money, but glass was expensive. So when he couldn't buy, he painted on. And that is my Wolfenbüttel. You can see why I love it. It's just so pretty here. Kind of like in a fairy tale. Thanks for coming with me.